Yep, chapter 21. Bongo, I said early in the morning as the last stars faded like weary fireflies. There's something I need you to do. Does it involve potato chips? Bongo mumbled. No. Then I'd rather sleep. It's about Samar. You promised you'd let me sleep in. I did promise, but I want to grant Samar's wish. This roused Bongo as she fluttered down to her favorite branch, the one she nicknamed Home Plate. Bongo likes to watch the kids play softball in the elementary school. Red, you don't make wishes happen. You're the place where wishes go. You're like a leafy garbage can in a good way. For 216 rings, I've sat on my roots, listened to people, hoped for things, and a lot of times those wishes never happen. I'm guessing. Bongo tucked a feather into place. Sometimes that's for the best. Remember the kindergartner who wanted a bulldozer? I'm passive. I just sit here watching the world. You're a tree, Red. That's kind of a job description. This is a good wish, a wish I can make happen. I pause. Well, I think we can make this happen. Yeah, I had a feeling this is where this is going. Bongo glided to the ground. Look, I heard Samar's wish. I know. How exactly are you going to find her a friend? You'll see, I said, hoping I sounded more confident than I felt. Red, Bongo paced back and forth. With each step, her head bobbed forward. We've got more serious issues, pal. Francisca's talking about turning you into toothpicks, and your residents are frantic about where they're going to move if that happens. She came close, nudged me fondly. Of course, they're worried about you too. I know that. Fresh baked bread poked her head out from under the porch. It was barely dawn, and the white stripe running the length of her face was clearly visible. I've offered to take in one of the tree families temporarily, she announced, preferably the opossums. They are better behaved than the yews. That's very generous of you, Fresh, I said, but I was interrupted by Big U, the mother of the 3 baby raccoons. She was in my large hollow, grumbling under her breath. I beg your pardon, she explained. You, and you have excellent manners. They, too, are inquisitive, said Fresh Baked Bread. They always poke their noses where they shouldn't be, grabbing at things with their little paws of theirs. Well, at least they don't stink, Big U cried, and your children have paws the last time I checked. Hairy Spiders, the mother possum, peeked out cautiously from her own hollow. Opossums name themselves after things they fear. Stink is in the nose of the beholder, Hairy Spiders. And while personally I think your children have a delightful odor, Fresh, I've already got dibs on the woodpile 2 doors down, should anything happen to dear Red. She patted me. No offense, love. I just thinking ahead, you know. No offense taken, I assured her. I saw the pile first, Big U cried. Sure a skunk then, Hairy Spider said. I wouldn't get caught dead in that place. Big U exclaimed, not now. Now I know I'm inquisitive children aren't wanted. Well, they are a bit boisterous, Hairy Spiders. At least my children have spunk, said Big U. Your kids faint when they see their own shadows. Playing possum is a useful adaptation, said Hairy Spiders, her pink nose switching. The world is a dangerous place. And in any case, we can't control it. It just happens. May I interrupt? Came a cool voice from my highest branches. It was Agnes. There's a nice-looking linden tree 2 blocks down, just vacated by a gray squirrel family. We are looking at it as a possibility. But there's a tomcat that runs loose there. Collar, but no bell. That's an issue. Also, a big slobbery dog. In fairness, all dogs are slobbery, Bongo observed. I really think you should all calm down, I interrupted. Let's not buy trouble, one day at a time, my friends. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? The mothers glared at me. I've heard a great deal of sighing. Too much, wise old tree, I asked. Too much, wise old tree, Bongo confirmed, as everyone retreated to their homes in a huff. They're all a bit tense, Bongo said, worried about your situation. I can see that. I'm worried too, Bongo said in an almost whisper. I know, I said gently, but every cloud has a silver. Red, Bongo interrupted. Sorry. There must be something I can do, Bongo said. You're a good friend, Bongo. Sometimes all you can do is stand tall and reach deep. Red. Sorry, I said. What will you do without Red, Bongo said softly. You'll be fine, my friend, I promise. We both fell quiet as Bongo shook her feathers. In any case, maybe not the best time to be granting wishes. This is my point. Seems to me exactly the right time, I replied. Bongo groaned, her little old man voice. She knew she wasn't backing down, and with that we began to plan. Chapter 22. We executed plan number 1. An hour and a half later, when Stephen headed off to school, he had gotten only as far as the sidewalk when Bongo dove straight down on his backpack, poking at the zipper with his beak. He cawed frantically. When the crows want to be loud, they can be extremely loud. What? Stephen cried. What is wrong with you? He dropped on his backpack to the ground. Bongo landed on the backpack, looking up at him hopefully. Chip, please, he said. Stephen rolled his eyes. Seriously? Hello, Bongo said. Chip, please. Stephen put his hands on his hips. Okay, fine. I've seen you in action, working the bus line. Bongo hopped to the ground. Stephen unzipped his backpack. You rock, she said politely. Stephen pulled out his lunch bag, opened it. Let's see. I've got a tuna sandwich, carrot sticks, but before he could say anything more, Bongo plunged into the backpack, grabbed a sheet of paper, and flew skyward. Hey, that's my English homework, Stephen cried. Come back here, you thief. Bongo flew into my high branches and landed with a victorious caw. Stephen stalked around the bottom of the trunk where the yellow police tape encircled me. Please, Crow, he pleaded. I'll give you my whole sandwich, please. Bongo perched on the piece of paper, freeing her beak. No way, she replied. A few more minutes of grumbling, and Stephen gave up. Great, he murmured. He grabbed his backpack. Mrs. Kellerman will never believe me when I tell her a crow ate my homework. Chapter 23. When Samara exited her house, it was time for the rest of our plan. She paused, as she always did, to say hello, Bongo, as she always did, and said hello back. But this time, Bongo surprised Samara by landing on her shoulder and presented her with a mangled piece of paper. Samara took it from Bongo. It was Stephen's name on it. What on earth do you have it? No way, Bongo says. By the way of an answer. Well, I'll be sure he gets this, Samara said. Bongo gave a little caw, headed back to me. Perfect, a simple plan, beautifully executed. Samara would give the homework to Stephen. They'd strike up a conversation about a crazy crow in a big oak tree. They'd laugh, they'd share, they'd realize they have a lot in common. Viola, friendship. It was a great plan, except for the part that came seconds later, the part where Samara noticed a friend of Stephen's walking by, dashed over, asked him to give Stephen the piece of paper, and that was that. Meddling isn't easy as I thought it would be, I confessed to Bongo. Hey, I did my part. You're wonderful, I said. Well, we'll just have to try again. We don't have a lot of time. Red, Bongo said with a sigh. Please don't remind me.